And we're back. Mike's CernovichChangeReplay.com. Gorilla mindset. Got a house of dogs, house of babies, hanging out. Hanging out with the bros. Yeah, I know my outfit doesn't match. Why? Because Shauna didn't pack me my hoodie.
Your outfit actually matches.
Not going to point fingers at anybody.
How that doesn't match.
Not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to say I'm going to take responsibility for my life, but
whoever's saying doesn't match is the freaking blue shirt and camel. Camel's technically a neutral.
That's what she's saying.
You guys don't know design?
I don't know. Cyrus doing tummy time.
Camel's a neutral, leopard is a neutral.
All right. So what's going on? What's going on? I'm just chilling out, drinking some coffee. Cyrus doing a little tummy time here. I'll show you, Syra. Yeah, I'll show you the life right now. There we go. Real journalism hours. Got dogs. Got dad here.
Okay.
Got Syra doing the tummy time.
Tummy time cool.
Got more dogs over there. Shauna makes Syra do tummy time every day. I'm like, no, you're torturing the child. But I know that it's good for the kid. I know it's good for the kid. So anyway, what's going on, guys? Yeah, the 60 Minutes special last night, hey man, they took their shots, but I think it was fair. I don't have any problem with it at all. Definitely don't have a problem with it at all. And there's people still trying to understand things, which I find interesting. So there's a guy, Charlie Warzel, who is a BuzzFeed, and he's an earnest guy. I wouldn't consider him an outright liar. He's an earnest guy. I occasionally talk to him, but he still doesn't really get it. And one thing that I don't know, I find perplexing as an attorney, lawyer. I hate the word attorney. One thing I find perplexing is that, you know, these guys who write about me, they're like 25, 30, right? 25, 30 years old. And then they're analyzing me, and Cernovich is a troll, or Cernovich is this, and I go, wait a minute, has it not occurred to them, just objectively speaking? All right, so my documentary on free speech was released last week. Alan Dershowitz is in it. Dave Rubin's in it. Milo Yiannopoulos, Anthony Cumia, Kurt Metzger, Sherrod Small, all kinds of people. All right, published a couple books. My Gorilla Mindset has over 1,000 reviews on Amazon, if you count all the stores. Big podcast, all kinds of reviews. Has it never occurred to them, like, well, wait a minute. Maybe this guy who's a lawyer has figured out how to write and publish a book, which is really hard. Most people don't sell books. Maybe he knows something. Maybe there's something more to him. Maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe he's right. Maybe I should see things from his perspective. But they don't, and the truth is, like, I don't really care. When I was like 29, it would be like, how can people not see this? Whereas now, I'm just more, not flabbergasted, although we are bringing that word back. I'm bemused. Bemused would be the word. I've been working on my vocabulary because I want Syra to have a huge vocabulary, so I got to make sure that I'm using more precise language. Bemused would be the term. Do they have no idea how hard it is to crowdfund a documentary, produce a documentary, get real names in it, get it out, plus all the drama with the director and everything? So you would think they would say, wow, it takes a lot of skill actually to do what Cernovich does. People, though, they think it's all random. And that was the big takeaway of the 60 Minutes event. 60 Minutes special was. When I went in, Scott Pelley didn't have a tie on. That sort of set the tone. When I went in, I set the tone for the interview. So if you watch the earlier segments, the other people, they're dressed kind of like how I am now. Some guy has some, dirty, poop-colored Henley. And they thought I was going to come in looking like this, maybe. But you got to dress for the occasion, right? You got to dress for the occasion. You got to know when you're having a heavyweight fight and when you're just having a nice casual coffee conversation. That's what people don't really understand. So when I went in, everything was, the whole week I just had the interview in my head 100 times. Every question they asked, I run through my head 100 times, visualize myself answering it, visualize them attacking me. And this is another kind of life lesson, is that you have to engage in extreme internal honesty. Know what your weak points are. Know where people are going to hit you. Know how they're going to attack you. Most people are not prepared for that. Most people, you become a hero in your own mind. But I'm not a hero in my own mind. I know that I have vulnerabilities. I know that there are places that people can attack me. I know that there are things that people can say and how to hit at me. So when I show up, I'm not glib. I already know, okay, I'm prepared for this question, and then I know how to answer it. And also, I'll teach you just like a little persuasion lesson right here. All right, so this is pretty much the exchange. This didn't make it into the video, but I'll be releasing transcript excerpts today and tomorrow. So the whole video, of course, or the whole interview, of course, obviously I have the whole interview. I don't have 60 minutes. It's up to them to release it, though. 60 minutes, they have the video rights to release it. So if you want the full video of me and Scott Pelley to be interviewed, then you can ask them to release the full video. I don't have the rights to the video. But I do have an excerpt, right? So Scott Pelley says, it seems to me that the quickest way to destroy democracy is to poison the information. See how he's going on the attack. Now, most people would be defensive, right? They would say, but I'm not fake, or I'm not this. So Pelley goes, it seems to me the quickest way to destroy democracy is to poison the information. My response, Pelley, his name is Pelley, I think, P-E-L-L-E-Y. I don't know, I don't care. Pelley, whatever, I don't care, guys. Scott, whatever the hell the guy's name is. It seems to me the quickest way to destroy democracy is to poison the information. My response, that's exactly why the Iraq War was a mistake, caused by hysterical fake news coverage. I also remember when people claimed a Kuwaiti woman had claimed that Iraqi soldiers went to a hospital, taking babies out of the incubators, throwing the babies away, and this is reported as true. That was untrue. That we live in the media. Right? So I'm going Pomo on them. They're, come on. That's another thing that cracks me up. I read Goylesh Bach for fun. I've talked about the hard problem of consciousness before. So it cracks me up that this is how dumb my haters are, right? My haters are so dumb they're not even smart enough to realize that I'm smarter than they are. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, or whatever you call it. They don't realize, like, holy shit, Cernovich is way smarter than us. These are the kind of books he reads for fun. For fun, Cernovich is like noodling on the hard problem of consciousness. In biological reductionism. This is what he does. That's how he has a good time. So I can pull out, I'm talking about the nature of truth, because my work has to be contextualized relative to the structures that we reside in. And that's, of course, media theory, postmodern theory, all right there, right? And then he goes, so some reporters somewhere made a mistake, and therefore it's okay for you to write anything you want, whether it's true or not. So see, Pelley and I were having parallel conversations. Pelley believed that I'm fake news, right? Even though Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's, and we'll find out soon enough. Why do you think she's been hiding? And she's occasionally shows up in the woods. Why isn't Hillary out more, right? So he thinks that he's going to call me fake news, but I believe that the media is fake news. So Pelley goes, so some reporter somewhere made a mistake, and therefore it's okay for you to write anything you want, whether it's true or not. So then my answer is no, I never said that at all. I said that people are human, and that mistakes made by the New York Times and the Washington Post and Rolling Stone and other outlets have caused great damage to our democracy, and is definitely a problem. Right? So right away he's trying to say, you're fake news, and I go, mistakes that the New York Times and Washington Post has made, big problem for our democracy. So every time they went after me as fake news, I just flipped it around. And I'll give you another example. Scott Pelley goes, well, the benefit of intermediaries is having experienced editors check things out and research people. Check the facts before it goes to the public. You don't do any of that. What did I say to that? Where are the weapons of mass destruction? That was my answer. So that's what I do. I answer questions with answers. Here's what people got to realize. Mindset. Just because I show up, don't think I'm on the hot seat. Don't think you just get to interrogate me like you have some kind of power over me, right? That is not my mindset. My mindset is I'm doing you a favor showing up too, and we're going to go at it, mano a mano. Mano a mano. So I continue, and I go, the Washington Post recently said the Burlington power grid had been hacked by Russians. And it turned out, well, actually some guy, maybe he had been watching some stuff he shouldn't have been watching on the internet. And maybe his computer was compromised. But even then, nobody knows. That's the Washington Post, right?
Julius.
New York Times, weapons of mass destruction, never found. Washington Post, Russia attacking the power grid. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. Disaster. Right? That's me. Right? So that's the whole thing, is I just kept going back to, and this is why when you're going into any kind of interview or debate, you have to have your talking points ready. Right? You can't just pass. You have to think, what are the hard questions people are going to ask me? What are the hard questions people are going to... And you have to have honesty, too. You have to know that you are vulnerable. Nobody's perfect. That's where people go wrong. You have to go in thinking they're going to destroy you. They want to humiliate me on national television. And that's what everybody thought, man. Everybody was telling me, man, you know, big mistake you made going on there. Everybody's saying, big mistake. Big mistake you're going on there. I was like, well, maybe you think that, but maybe you've also never really seen me in the major leagues, too, which is another reason I went on, right? That's another reason. How does a self-proclaimed anti-feminist take $1 million in alimony? Well, I'm gonna block you because you're a hater, but one, seems pretty alpha to me. Is it alpha or beta to receive alimony? How many men you know? And this is another thing my haters can't realize because they can't contextualize things. They can't contextualize it. How many men do you know, or how many men do you know who ever made millions of dollars in a divorce? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know a single man who has ever made millions of dollars in a divorce. Go ahead. So let's see. I win my divorce. I win my books. I win my films. I win on the internet. I win 60 Minutes. Shauna's hot. Right? I have a track record. That's why I laugh when people are like, that guy is unhinged. He's unstable. He's crazy. It's like, well, wait a minute. I have a track record of consistently delivering, consistently being successful. It's exactly the opposite of instability. My life might look unstable to people who don't understand what's going on, but that just goes to show them they don't get it at all, and they don't want to. Because my track record is like, wow, this guy, even in a divorce, this guy gets paid. A man got paid millions of dollars in a divorce? Get out of here, right? But the interesting thing about all that most people don't know is personal branding. I created a brand for my ex, and I made her $10 million. Right? I made her $10 million, at least. She's made way more than that now. Because I built her brand up into a unique niche. But I don't like to talk about her too much because I moved on. I don't even think about her. It's funny because Shauna goes, do you think your ex-wife watched you on 60 Minutes? And I was like, I don't think about that. Like, no.
Julius, come here.
You know, why would I care? What's it got to do, right? What's that got to do with anything? And the truth is, though, how much did 60 Minutes cut from your interview? They didn't selectively edit it. I'll give them that. They didn't take one of my questions and then or one of my answers and edit it to a different question. So I have actually nothing but respect for the 60 Minutes piece. A lot of people were like, oh, it was a hit piece on you. And I was like, no, I mean, they hit me, but that's what they're supposed to do. That's journalism. I'm fine with confrontational, aggressive journalism. As long as you don't edit me and say things that I didn't say or splice out. That's why I turned on The Daily Show. Is The Daily Show, yeah, halfway through the interview, they had to redo his makeup. That's a lot of things people don't realize. Pelly was literally sweating, and they had to cut the interview in half, and they had to redo his makeup, and then they had to have the producer give him talking points. Because the first half of the interview, if you think what I showed was on point, imagine what they didn't show. That's the way to think about, right? No, he was like this the whole. He'd never dealt with it. I can tell that never in his life had he dealt with somebody like me, because what they don't understand about me is I'm interviewing him. This is a mindset shift. That's why if you read Gorilla Mindset, you can apply this to every area of your life. It's a framing question. So if you say, okay, I'm being interviewed by the media, then you answer all the questions. The power dynamic unconsciously changes from one question. Think about it. One question. If all you say in your own mind is that I'm being interviewed by the media, then that one thought you have completely alters your unconscious mind. And we have these thoughts all the time about ourselves, which is why Gorilla Mindset teaches you how to fix all that self-talk. Well, what if you reframe it and you say, I'm interviewing Scott Paley. What an amazing opportunity. I'm Mike Cernovich, DangerPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. I get to go in and interview Scott Paley on their dime. I get to go in with their production crew, their cameras, their microphones, their hotel suite, and I get to ask this guy any question I want to ask. In your own mind, if that's how you frame it, then the power dynamic shifts. You don't view yourself as being defensive. You view it as, I'm going to, do my thing. And this is, again, that's why I can always tell who's Red Gorilla Mindset and who has it. Because, admittedly, what I'm applying is like black belt Gorilla Mindset. Did I take any nootropics before the segment? Oh, for sure. I took Gorilla Mind. I took my nootropic before the event. Of course, I was hyped up on Gorilla Mind. I need everything, I need everything running hard. So yeah, Gorilla Mind. You only got paid alimony because you made no money law and she struck it rich. Well, okay. Think what you want to think. 60 Minutes had the lowest rate. Last night, 60 Minutes was the highest rated show on TV.
Hi.
Last night was the highest rated show last night. CBS was the highest rated thing. 60 Minutes was the highest rated network. So what does that prove? It proves what we've all been saying. Oh, you know what it did for my web traffic? Okay. I'm gonna have a guess. I think that's Menace with the MAGA hat, so he knows. Menace, you can't answer. You can't answer because you know the answer. If I tweet out a link to an article at Danger and Play, I'll end up with 500 active users on my site, and if it goes viral, I'll end up with like 3,000 active users. That means like simultaneously right now, right? How many active users did I peak at during the 60 Minutes episode? And how many books did I sell because of 60 Minutes? If you're Menace, you can't answer. If you've been around for a long time, you can't answer, right? Okay. I took screen caps of everything too. We had my analytics running the whole night. You know how many? Active users I had on my website? You'll never believe it. So this morning I linked an article out and I had 590 active users from one tweet. 60 Minutes, I had 570 active users. This is a true story. I screen capped it, time stamped it, the whole thing. I got no increase in active users, and I didn't even have my best day of web traffic of the month. It wasn't even my best day of web traffic for the month. And moreover, the reason I had a good web traffic day is I had rewritten an article out. So here, I'll show you my web traffic for the month. Just so I can show you, because I use data for everything. Syra's with Sean. Sean and Syra together, guys. Come on. All right. I'm going to show you a screen cap of my analytics. All right. You're not going to believe this. And this is something that most people don't understand. So here's a screen cap I just took right now of my analytics. You can look at the date. You can look at the date stamp on that, and if you read it, I don't know how it looks on your thing, but that highest point of the day was not 60 Minutes. This one here, that was 60 Minutes, but that was also I had a big story go viral on Twitter before I even went on 60 Minutes. Right? So that's not even due to 60 Minutes. So I basically got no traffic bump at all from being on television. Do you know how many books I sold from being on 60 Minutes? Guess. Take a wild guess. I'm on 60 Minutes, national web show. 10.5 million people watched 60 Minutes. 10.5 million people watched 60 Minutes. So I'll show you my book sales. I'm going to take a screen cap right now of my book sales, of my Kindle sales, because I get Kindle trafficked every day. So I'll show you a screen cap of my book sales right now in real time. And this day, right there, that is the day I went on 60 Minutes. But as you see, I sold more books the previous day because I was on Stefan Molyneux. And then, as you can see, there's my book sales. So I didn't have even the biggest day of the month. So I sold maybe 5, 10 books, maybe 5 or 10 books by being on 60 Minutes. The web traffic, no web traffic boost directly from 60 Minutes. Now I did gain web traffic indirectly because I was able to talk about it and hype the story. I gave them more ratings than they gave me, right? So here's the thing. I gave 60 Minutes more ratings than they gave me. I'll show you. It's so funny. The Hollywood Reporter wrote about the ratings on 60 Minutes, and they wanted to say it was because of March Madness, even though Twitter, 60 Minutes trended on Twitter for the first time ever. So last night, Twitter let 60 Minutes trend, but they didn't let me trend, right? Twitter wouldn't let my name trend. TV ratings, March Madness drives CBS, lives 60 Minutes, right? No, not true. That was Mike Cernovich. So they go, the big night for CBS. No. Though CBS scored an easy win last night and saw a delayed 60 Minutes shoot up to a 1.77 rating among adults 18 to 49 and 10.6 million viewers, right? So younger audience. I brought people who had never watched 60 Minutes to the show. So 60 Minutes had the best ratings night, right? And in the demographic, which my demographic is, they had a huge boost. So I gave them more traffic than they gave me. I gave them more traffic, and I can prove it with the analytics. That's another thing my haters don't understand, is that they never think, well, wait a minute, Mike sure seems to have, I have an understanding of analytics better than the people who work at the analytics department at BuzzFeed or Business Insider. I know more about analytics than people who work in the analytics field. I know more about SEO than people who work in SEO. Do they not ever think, how effing smart must this guy be to know everything about everything? I could be CEO of the biggest media company in the world online and go into every department and say, look, here's how you're going to run video, here's how you're going to run podcasts, here's how you're going to run IT, here's how you're going to run analytics, here's how you're going to run marketing, here's how you're going to run social, here's the kind of journalism you're going to do. They don't know anything. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So, Lee Stranahan is obsessed with me, right? And he's always saying he's so smart. But the guy, he's got no Twitter following. The only way he can get page views is to talk about me. And that's true with so many people. The only way they can get page views is to talk about me. But then that's show, don't tell. The Mike Cernovich principle, which is based on writing. Show, don't tell. If you have to tell people you're smart, if you have to tell people you're making them smarter, chances are you're not that smart. Because if you're really smart, you're going to build an audience. If you're actually interesting, if you're legitimately interesting, you're legitimately intelligent, you're legitimately telling news stories other people don't want to tell, there's a huge market for that right now. People want that. People want cutting-edge information, counter-narrative information. Why isn't Lee, the journalist, why didn't he interview the people from the South African Civil Relief Organization that I interviewed? Why are these people in journalism who call themselves journalists that hate on me, why don't they get off of Twitter and go talk about the South African genocide? Why don't they talk about funding a project to bring people down to South Africa to go to the South African farms? Why don't they do real journalism, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm talking to people. I'm saying, you have an interesting story. I am going to tell your story or let you tell your story. People aren't doing that. They're snipping on Twitter, right? And the irony is that I give some of the irony about Lee is that I gave him an audience. Nobody knew who he was. And I felt bad for him because he has 5 kids. He's had a lot of health problems. He's morbidly obese. He's got high blood pressure, diabetes. He's just a real mess. And I was like, man, I feel bad for this guy. I gave him like 10,000 Twitter followers. I was like, read Lee's stuff, and then what do I get out of it? The only reason anybody's asking me about Lee is because I told you all about him. Think about that. The only reason anybody's asking me about this guy is because I all told you about him. Really helped you. Really pushed his stuff. Isn't that amazing? But you see that it doesn't get me. It doesn't rattle me because of guerrilla mindset. The power of guerrilla mindset. And moreover, it's just, objectively speaking, Lee is a loser. Objectively speaking, he doesn't do any journalism. He doesn't have any good stories. He doesn't break news. He doesn't say anything interesting or novel. He can't communicate well with people. He can't buy a tripod and actually, he has the worst camera quality in the world. Here's Lee. I'm going to make you smarter. I'm going to make you smarter. I'm like Mike. I'm Lee, and I can't figure out how to use a camera. Get a tripod going. Oh, shaky. I can't figure out any of that, but I'm so smart. But Mike, man, he's a big dummy, and I don't know why people read him, millions of people, because I'm the smart one. Go to my journalism school because I'm so smart. Oh, yeah, I can't. Oh, yeah, the image is shaky, right? Hey, here's an idea. If you're going to try to sell people a product, how about you have a good product? If you're going to sell a product, how about you have a good product? Right? How about if you're going to sell people on how to be a journalist, how about you buy a tripod? And how about you stage a shot? Right? How about you just buy, if you're not even smart enough to buy a tripod so that you can have a stable video image, you don't need to tell people how smart you are because they can see. That's another thing fake news doesn't understand is that people can see. If you're telling people you're an amazing journalist and you know so much and you can't even have a tripod set up, then right away people don't believe you. If you tell people you're an amazing journalist but you can't break any big news, break any news story, right? Then people can see that. And that is another thing Scott Pelley didn't understand. This is like a generation gap thing. Here's what blew me away. This is the number one thing that blew me away about 60 Minutes. This is, well, I'll ask you, what was the number one aspect of the 60 Minutes interview that blew you away, that really surprised you? I'll tell you mine, but there's no right answer. This isn't like a pop quiz. I'm not saying pop quiz. No, for you personally, what was the biggest takeaway or biggest surprise of that? I'll tell you mine. When I went into the interview with Pelley, I was not prepared to talk about Hillary's health because she is so clearly unhealthy. She so clearly has undisclosed health problems that I was thinking, wait, they're trying to hang me on Hillary's health? This is their indictment? This is their indictment on me? Hillary's health? Once they did that, I was like, oh man, I went in expecting it to be way worse. And they came at me with Hillary's health, and that is how out of touch they are. They're so delusional. So I don't even, in a way, Scott Pelley changed my view on the media, which is, I don't even know that they're liars. I just think they're that out of touch. Scott Pelley, they thought they had me in a checkmate. We're about to show the world that Cernovich is a liar because he said Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's. And I'm like, wow. To me, I was like, that's why I was so excited all week. People didn't know that too. People were saying, oh, this is going to be a hit job. They're going to get you. And I thought, they're going to try to get me. I didn't tell this because obviously I wanted to wait till the segment aired. That people didn't know, I knew what they were going to get me at. They went after me about Hillary's health and about the spirit cooking story. And then the spirit cooking story, I talked about Lauren Silsby, Jeffrey Epstein, so they couldn't hang me on that either. Because I can prove that Hillary Clinton's inner circle does include pedophiles, child traffickers. Jeff Epstein is in it. Lauren Silsby's in it. Okay, so there you go. All true. All verifiable. So I'm thinking, man, they're going to get me. They think they're going to get me. This is how out of touch they are. Dennis Hassard, I mentioned him. I'm thinking this is how out of touch they are. That they think that they're going to hurt me by showing the Hillary's health stuff. So in a way, I don't hate the media. This is weird. This is like the mind F-U-C-K on me. In a way, I don't hate the media people. I view them as bumbling fools who are misguided. Because in their world, that is persuasion. In their world, they beat me that night. If you talk to people, in their world, if you ask 60 Minutes, they go, man, we got Cernovich good because Hillary obviously doesn't have Parkinson's, and that's just that, man. That's just that. Cheers, guys. We got him. Wow. And they really believe it. They sincerely believe it. It was unbelievable. But yeah, we'll talk more about it, and I'll be releasing more of the transcript. I'll be releasing more of the transcript throughout the day and tomorrow and everything, depending on what people want. But what I think is that I think people should be asking to watch the full video. Right? I definitely think people should be watching the full video because it's great. It was great. Totally great. Well, I can't get the full video. They have rights to the video. I don't have rights to the video. But they have the full video. So if you want the full video, okay, what should our hashtag be if you want the full video? We'll think about this. Okay, let's do this. We'll have a Periscope later today. And later today, we will think of a hashtag to get trending to ask for the video. So I think that's what we'll have to do, is we'll do a separate video on this. So let's just brainstorm some ideas right now, and then we'll do a bigger Periscope about it in a little bit. So we want the full 60 minutes of video. We want a hashtag that's very catchy. So I'm just trying to think what would be a good hashtag that people would like. And it has to be short, has to be punchy, it has to resonate. Cernovich unedited is too much, plus my name is hard to spell. So we can't have Cernovich because I can barely pronounce my own name, right? No way people are going to be able to spell it. So we got to think of a good hashtag that we want. But we don't want to boycott 60 Minutes. They didn't do me dirty. Yeah, they didn't. I have no issue with them. I just realized that we live in a parallel world where they think that Hillary is healthy and I don't. And because she's not. She's obviously not. So yeah, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. I had to get up early. The dogs woke me up. So we got 3 dogs running around. They woke up at 5:30 in the morning, running around. So yeah, we'll think about it. 60-minute uncut, missing minutes, free the gorilla. No, that's too. I like it, but that wouldn't work for this. Full 60. What about Cerno 60 or 60 Cerno? Just like 60 Cerno. Would that get the full, just 60 Cerno, hashtag 60 Cerno? Would that work for people? Would that work for people? Cerno 60. Yeah, it's a little, if you guys like it, it won't work if it's a number first. You're right. If it's a number first, it won't work because the way Twitter's hashtag works. Cerno 60. Okay, great idea. So let's do hashtag Cerno 60. I'm going to end this Periscope, and we're going to do another one where we just talk about why we want the full video.